We're back. We're back. Hello, everybody. So, Fit with Purpose is the name of our podcast, and it's been a minute, hasn't it, Cameron?
Two minutes.
It's been 2 minutes, 2 minutes, aka 2 years. It's really not been 2 years, like a year. Okay, so guys, we're gonna jump right in. Just basic introduction. I'm Valerie, and I'm an online fitness, nutrition, and mindset coach. Been for a while. I help women lose belly fat, build strength, and I just create sustainable habits that improve overall health and life. And that's it in a nutshell. What about you, Cameron?
I fix shit.
Yeah, just like your.
I switch gears a little bit, but essentially, when women can't figure out what's going on with them, why they feel miserable, can't lose weight, can't resolve their issues, that's what I do. I fix what doctors can't find,
Yeah, it's like the
and
root
if I can't
causes.
help you, I'll tell you that. But 99% of the time, I can fix it.
Yeah, kind of like it's the root causes behind their symptoms and
Exactly.
hormones and metabolism for their overall health. That's exactly what she does. Well, you guys, today we have hot topic and we want to talk about Ozempic and GLP-1 medications and whether we're looking at a medical breakthrough or a marketing phenomenon or a little bit of both, because it is it's more than kind of a little bit of both. And we're going to break it down in sections because if you've watched our podcast in the past, we can definitely go off the rails. We want to address segment by segment. So I want to talk about what Ozempic, we're laughing because we just are. We're passionate about what we do, but we're here to have a discussion about what we've seen in the 25, 30, 40 plus years we've been in this industry, from our clients and from our family members, and what we are now seeing with the evolution of this digital age and social media, especially, right? And marketing. We'll touch on that. So, what GLP-1s or Ozempic, actually is, we're going to start there. And I think a lot of people don't understand this. I want to address, this is where we love to talk about this, Cameron and I, and she's great at diving in. That the fact that GLP-1s and Ozempic was originally designed for type 2 diabetics. It's a receptor agonist, a GLP-1, and Cameron will explain that. Slows gastric emptying. It reduces your appetite. It does help regulate your blood sugar. And then the side effect of all of that is weight loss. So, let's just start with like I said, what it is. This wasn't originally created for someone to lose 8 pounds before a beach vacation. So let's talk about what it is. Originally for type 2 diabetics. We'll start there. Um, Go ahead. I'll let you begin.
Yeah, without getting too deep in the weeds, and try to keep it at an understandable level. You're exactly right. I mean, this was designed to help diabetics who a lot of the time, most of the time, are overweight and their A1C is high. And A1C is think of that as a snapshot of what's happened 3 months in the past. And if your A1C is high, you're going to have significant metabolic problems, which lead to a total health decline. So they invented this GLP-1, and briefly, what that means is we have something in our stomach. It's called glucagon, hence GLP, glucagon like peptide. Well, the glucagon in our stomach, we all have it. That is very simply a signal that tells your brain that you're full. But for whatever reason, some people have a problem with their GLP. It no longer signals the brain, so they continue eating. Well, that's, enter GLP and the GLP, the injectables, and now they actually have oral, I guess, pills, capsules, whatever. Um,
I didn't know that.
yeah, it's a new thing, actually.
Yeah, yeah,
Very new thing.
lots of new stuff. Yeah, let's
And
make it
it
easier, right?
it works, obviously. I mean, people are losing a ton of weight, but where our concern as fitness and health people come in as there, and I see this more and more and more, Val, and that is, it works. It simply works. And the problem with it working is they're incurring all sorts of health issues, but they don't see that at the time because they lose weight and they're happy and their doctor sends them home and they're good. But what's occurring is not only, and I can attest to this because I took a GLP not for weight loss, but for longevity purposes. And it put me in stage 3 kidney failure. And I have the labs to prove it. And this is just very, very recently in March of this year. And that's what's happening. Not only does it kill your appetite, your satiety appetite that tells you you're full, so you stop eating, but it kills your hunger and your thirst mechanism. So you incur not only nutrient deficiencies, but also kidney problems as well.
Okay, so that is, I'm going to stop right there. That is a, for you to say that it did cause what it did, the kidney issues for you. Um, And we talk about, again, it blocking the hunger receptors and things like that. So was that a side effect of your GLP-1? Like it damaged your kidney? What did it do in terms, you said it put you in kidney failure. So if you were to break it down, what was that a side effect from just, I'm repeating my question, from just
Sure.
you taking it? Like how did that manifest itself that it was causing kidney failure?
Yeah,
What
it's a great question.
GLP?
I didn't even know it. And I have this all day, every day. I drink well over a gallon a day.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that I didn't realize I wasn't drinking enough water.
Okay.
And that reflected on my labs. And I have labs all the time just to monitor how I'm doing. And I noticed labs that were, in the stage 3, and I don't want to say failure, even though that's how it's defined on the lab reference range. It's stage 3 kidney failure. They call it CKD, kidney disease. And I'm reversing that, and hopefully I'm getting labs on Monday if they're available to do the labs. But it just absolutely knocks out your drive to drink. So your kidneys get dehydrated,
Okay.
and
That's where
that
I was going.
reflects in your labs.
That's where I was going
Either,
with this. So it was dehydration that caused it because you didn't realize you were dehydrated, that you need because it
right,
again, it's receptor, it's blocking those receptors. That's the whole purpose of what it's doing. So I mean, if people can even understand, they already know this. It's basically it's manipulating your system, so that you
100%.
can lose weight. I mean, and that's people just need to understand that the thing is they understand it, but they don't get why that's dangerous. And what she said right there, ladies and gentlemen, is you can't, you don't know what are you supposed to do when if you're not hungry, if the receptors are not working in your to tell your brain, let me go get something to eat, let me go get something to drink. You don't realize that this is happening. You can sit there and say, oh, I'm going to stay on a regimen and I'm going to drink and I'm going to eat and I'm going to
Doesn't work.
but basically, exactly, we're human and we listen to our everything we do in life is influenced by our mood, our brain. So those receptors, dopamine, all that stuff. So if it's not there and it's being blocked, there's nothing really you can do about that. So that's step one to understand. What I want to talk about next is where this whole GLP-1 situation goes off the rails. And that's I want to talk about extremes, meaning this is where Cameron and my passion will come in. What we see on social media. Before before all these GLP-1s and Ozempic conversations, weight loss was required. For weight loss to happen, it required behavioral change and exercise and nutrition and consistency. That's what we support and that's what we guide. And now people believe, I can take a shot and I can skip all the hard stuff. So I want to talk about how the marketing shifted from let's improve your health to lose weight quickly. That's the problem. That's the problem. Not that necessarily I mean, yes, necessarily the medication itself to a certain degree, but where my biggest thing and what I try to get across through what I intend to get across through my social media is the extremes that are out there. Well, I need to do a better job, actually. I feel like you guys, everything before social media started, it was TV, it was magazines. That's the only way that there was mass media marketing. Now, social media has reared its ugly head. I mean, it is literally a demon because it gets infused into our brain and we know no boundaries. We doom scroll, we do this, we do that. The extremes are back. It's either you're super skinny, looking like a skeleton, and I'm going to call out certain celebrities. You can look at LaToya Jackson, Demi Moore. Oh my gosh, there's
It's
so
horrible.
many. There's so many. Emma, what's her name? Anyway, it's super skinny skeleton, or you've got obese women who are unhealthy and they're on the other side of it as models, and that's being glorified as love your body, love your curves, no matter what you look like. And while that's true, you should love yourself regardless, but you should love yourself to get yourself healthy enough. The health aspect has dropped. It's just how I want to look. And that's what I'm talking about. It's not it's just extreme and extreme sells. Basically, for us to sit there and say you have to exercise and eat well and do this consistently and lift for the rest of your life, that doesn't sell. Nobody cares about that.
No, because it's hard and taking a shot or a pill is easy.
Yeah, they don't want to do that. It's
No,
all
they
about
don't.
extremes. It's all about extremes. And I want to pop a picture up. This is the moment where I'll pop. Hopefully, I can pop it up in the middle of the of this podcast here, where you know it's the image of a bunch of people bigger, in line for
Oh,
Ozempic.
right. I've seen it.
Yeah, and then the other one is healthy food and vegetables, and nobody's in that
And there
line.
is no one in line.
So I mean, yeah, just this goes off the whole topic goes off the rails with social media. With the extremes of what we see. What's your view on that, or how you feel that aspect is, we see the same thing. Social media, it's hard.
I mean, you've already said it, Val. There's a lot of hard work involved for the client or the patient, and there's also no money in it for big pharma if people do it the right way. But there's a lot of money for big pharma if they sell a GLP. And remember, I'm in the medical field too, so I see both sides of it. And it's unfortunate because what they're not sharing, even though it's on the black box warning or the label, all of the side effects, kidney failure and end organ failure. And these people aren't, the clients or the patients that are taking GLPs aren't recognizing what's going on because their providers that are prescribing these GLPs aren't telling them. And I know this because I have these clients myself. They're not telling them to get, they're not telling them to get lab work to see where they stand after they start the GLP. And therein lies the problem because they're damaging their organs and they feel great. They look great. They look in the mirror. They like what they see. But yet what's going on the inside is really telling the true story.
Exactly. Exactly. And I always say, like we talk about, if someone's the benefit has to outweigh the risk. If your health risk has to be way higher than the risk of what this drug may do to you, like we just talked about, kidney issues, pancreas issues, no talk about how you should take this and live your lifestyle, and we'll get into that. Um, I mean, that's a reasonable position to sit there and say, if your weight is putting your life at risk, then yes, the potential benefits may absolutely outweigh the risk. But other than that, no. I've got some people who have sleep apnea, and this is a big one. Even my sister has sleep apnea, and she is on some GLP-1, probably her third that has not worked because again, she's not properly following the criteria that she should be following for it to work, which is dietary and exercise, and then duration, all of those things. But that's more psychological, and we'll get into that too. The overall candidate, what a candidate should look like. What a candidate that should be on GLP-1, what that should look like. Because it's not just, okay, you're obese, let's be on it. There's a lot of psychological factors that they should adapt before going on it, that they should understand. But the sleep apnea conversation, some clients that I have, and they are very adamant and very happy and want to talk about and boast about and feel positive that, you know what, I'm going to say that I'm on a GLP-1 for my sleep apnea, and I've lost 20 some pounds, and it does work, and I needed to because that saved my life. Well, let's get back to the root cause of it. The medication isn't curing your sleep apnea. Weight loss, we know weight loss reduces your air obstruction, your neck circumference, your fat tissue around the airway. But an important distinction is the drug didn't cure the sleep apnea. The weight loss improved the sleep apnea. And I think that's an important nuance. What do you think?
Yeah, they skip over that part though, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's something else that I think it's really important that we talk about, and I don't know if it's at this moment or in the next 5 minutes, but and I'm going to read it because I have it pulled up here. Just in March, the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons annual meeting, 150,000 patients found that over 5 years, GLP users had a 30% higher risk of osteoporosis, 12% higher risk of gout, and 150% increased risk of osteomalacia, which is just simply bone softening.
Yeah.
And that goes to my original point is they're not eating, so they're not obtaining the nutrients from the food to keep the bone structure where it needs to be. And most certainly they're not doing strength training
Right.
to counteract
Exactly.
the
And that
the
absolutely,
osteoporosis.
absolutely. And that's actually the next thing I was going to move on to in talking about that. Yeah, we'll talk about that. Let's just hold that thought for 2 seconds. This one more point about the sleep apnea. Again, people they're proud to tell you that it works and that they're doing it correctly because, and again, this person that I know does do exercise, does do weight training, is eating on a regular diet. They are in a small percent that is actually doing it right. So, you know, and it's for a certain period of time that she's on this drug as well. So she is doing that the right way, but it's hard for me to, I mean, I'm glad for her, but it's hard for me to still support anyone being really high on a soapbox saying use GLP-1 for sleep apnea because not everybody's going to follow the way she's following. That's why it just can't be all broad. You have to align yourself with the
100%.
criteria that you just brought up. So that we can get into that. The missing conversation that nobody wants to have is, you know, and I think this is the strongest part. You're going to lose fat, but you're also going to lose muscle. You're going to lose bone density. You're going to lose, especially when you don't lift weights, you don't eat enough protein, you don't exercise. Losing weight and becoming healthier are not always the same thing. And I think that's a misconception.
Oh,
Losing
it is
weight and becoming
from the beginning
healthy.
of time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
They think that because I lost weight or I'm healthy. Well, you're not eating, like you just said. You're not eating, you're not drinking. Things are going to happen to your kidneys. You're losing bone density. You're losing muscle. Didn't you and I just talk about like last week that now the new study is that muscle, right, increases lifespan for women. Muscle itself
Oh,
alone.
it's
It used
yeah,
to be
it's surpassed
longevity.
all the other predictors
Yeah,
for survival rate in women. It's muscle. It used to be grip strength. It used to be
right,
VO2 max. It
right.
is now muscle mass.
Correct.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. It's now muscle mass. And they're losing it. They're losing it. So back to what you just said. That read that again. Your
150,000 patients over 5 years of using GLPs had a 30% risk of osteoporosis, 12% higher risk of gout, and 150% increased risk of osteomalacia, which is softening of the bones.
They were on it for that long, for a year.
Oh, Val, you know how it goes. They don't come off of it. But yes, they had used the study was for
What are you doing on it for a year? My,
oh, people are on it for, and that goes into our next topic. I mean, once you're on, because what happens when you get off? You gain weight. And the other thing
right.
that's really, really important to know, and people, their providers aren't sharing this with them, and they're certainly not reading the warning, the literal warning that's a folded 12-page book that comes in it's the package insert that tells you all of these side effects and that your receptors will get desensitized. That's why I don't care what GLP it is, tirzepatide, retatrutide, Ozempic, whatever, you will have to dose escalate because you're saturating that receptor and you're not cycling it like it should be cycled. And then that's why dose escalation has to occur. You have to take more to get the same
Yeah.
result.
Well, people can relate to that. Think about hence drugs, right?
Exactly.
Drugs, ibuprofen,
Yeah.
Tylenol. Let's not even get into oxys and different.
Right.
Try to get more and more and more to start feeling it. Alcohol, right? Oh, the less you take of something, the more you'll feel it, and it will have an effect on you. The more you take. No, that's so interesting because when it comes to that's just so, oh my gosh, it's interesting. So many things are coming into my head from hormones, dosing to just, but when it comes to um, manipulating, structure and desire and all of that, then you have to keep taking more. So,
Yep.
what, like we said, the public's being sold all these extremes, and social media presents two messages: get skinny as possible, or health doesn't matter. Just love yourself exactly as you are. But, the truth is probably somewhere in the middle. So if someone's considering Ozempic, like we said, um, people should ask several questions. Why do I want this medication? How have I addressed my nutrition? Am I strength training? Am I eating enough protein? Have I had my hormones evaluated? Do I understand the side effects? What's the plan when I stop taking it? Am I willing to change my lifestyle? That's what I'm saying. If all those questions need to be answered before you get on the medication. And a lot of people that it's the doctor will just say, because they're getting a kickback, take this. And
Hmm.
there's no structure behind it. There's no plan, right? Failing to plan is pretty much
Plan to
planning to
fail.
fail. Exactly. There's no discuss. I think they should sit in a like in a movie and read and watch like a 20-minute, 30-minute
Right?
tutorial, right? Have a readiness assessment, you
That's
know.
a great idea.
We're going to put you on Ozempic. Okay, go in this room. The door is going to close, or on your phone, right? Everything works on your phone. Watch this, and then start this lifestyle 3 months before you start taking this particular medication. What do you think?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Like you have to do before you have a sex change, and you have to do it before you have a gastric bypass. You have to go through psychological counseling. You have to take testing. You can't just walk in the door and get a prescription for a sex
Live the
change,
life. Right. Live the life first.
right?
That's good because like you just talked about sex change or trans or whatnot, they're living the life first. They don't sit there and just decide, oh, well, this is, how I feel and I'm going to go in and get a sex change. No, they're living the life. Why is it
Right.
that you have to walk the walk with everything else in life before you walk the walk with GLP-1s and get on it?
That's a that's a great point, and I think it's also important to note that people it's really easy for people to take a shortcut. We know that. We know they like that. So this is easy to do. Oh, I can't lose weight because whatever their excuse is. But the research doesn't lie. It's 0.3%. So less than one half of a percent of the population, 0.3%, actually have a genetic mutation that prevents them from losing weight. So all of these people that are making excuses that they can't lose weight, I don't buy it. I
Yeah.
don't buy it. It's hard. Hell yeah, it's hard. But that doesn't give you a license to continue to eat like shit, not exercise, and not take care of yourself.
You know, that what you just said, I wish I could like loop it right now because she just
Right?
talked about how a genetic, 3% of a genetic, whatnot. You guys, genes are real, and this will be a whole nother podcast that we'll talk about. There are certain things, especially as you get older, that you have genetically inherited that you cannot escape and that do start to influence and not influence, but if you find out about it, it makes sense of why certain things have happened to you throughout your life, like why it is harder to lose weight. You just said
Yeah.
it. Why this and that. Cameron and I both have found out certain genetic markers that we have, and we're connecting the dots at why X, Y, and Z, is not happening. We come off, we're healthy, we're both healthy, but there's things, even myself, that certain, you find out you're not absorbing something because of a certain gene that you have. And so now
Right.
you've got to do X, Y, and Z through supplementation and all these other things so that you do get that. And that's my point. Like you said, it's hard. We understand it's hard because we're there too in another situation. But
Yeah. Another way.
the bottom line is we've got to do hard things. Oh, the other thing I wanted to touch on was yes, hormones are real, but a lot of people also, as we age and as we go through menopause, perimenopause, oh, it's my hormones. I have this, even us people who are in fitness and exercise all the time. Oh, I've got this puffy here and it started after perimenopause. Yes, I know, we know that things are
And they've
going,
done that.
yeah, been there, done that, are going to happen. But I have to say, eating in a slight calorie deficit is everything, you guys. Let me just because even regardless of what you're going through hormonally, you'll go through it hormonally. And yes, get your hormones balanced and regulated and optimized if you can. Not everybody does that. And it's hard to do and it's expensive to do. And it's not always realistic and sustainable. It's not in this economy and what's going on. It's hard. It costs. And there's other things that people have to take care of. But my point is, um, there's when you get say gastric bypass surgery or weight loss surgery, they put you on a liquid diet. You could be 350 pounds. You have to be on a liquid diet the first week before you have this happen. I have
Yeah.
several. You drop 20 pounds in the week. It doesn't matter if you're fucking perimenopausal, menopausal, causal meno, whatever the fuck. You just lost 20 effing pounds because you were only on a liquid
All
diet.
right.
Don't fucking tell me that if you're on a calorie deficit that you can't lose
It
weight
doesn't, right. It's
because
hard. We've determined that it's just hard and they don't want to do it. They don't want to do it. And that's on them. If you want to destroy your kidneys and be an end organ failure and dialysis for the rest of your life, well, maybe I'll fly you one day to a medical facility.
we're screaming at you guys. You guys have people have to understand. We sit there and say, eat in a slight calorie deficit for the rest of your life. They're like, oh my gosh, eat in a slight calorie deficit. Do you know what that means, people? Just eat 3 to 4 times a day, 4 meals a day, not huge portions. You know, the portion of your palm for protein, a cup of green vegetables, and your complex carb, half a cup or whatever it is. And do that 4 times a day and have your chocolate and have some popcorn, that is a fucking calorie deficit. That's what it is. And that's how we eat. And that's why we maintain and lose weight and keep it there. And then we
Exactly.
lift and our muscle grows strong and lean and we build bone density. That's what the calorie deficit is. Their brain is, oh, take away. I'm losing. I
I
can't
have to eat
have
only
this.
salad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that means only eat salad for the rest of my life. That means only cut. When are we gonna get it through their head? It's a psychological mindset shift. I mean, I've got, several clients I've worked with, so do you. It does click for many, many, many people, but again, for the majority of who's out there,
yeah.
it doesn't. If it does, it's short-lived due to social media. And that's another thing. It reverses your thinking because you start to salivate, you see all these delicious and salacious meals and things like that, and it just goes backwards. So bottom line is a plan. I'll let you, do a closing statement, but for me, have a plan. You have to have a plan for everything. You know me, if I wake up and I don't have a plan for the day and I'm supposed to be home,
I do. You're
I
you're
sit
lost. You're
there.
wandering
Yeah.
aimlessly.
If there's no plan, I'm going to sit there. A
Yeah.
plan for everything.
I think the probably the thing I want to drive home the most is, and I'm going to say a lot of people don't know this. They don't realize how important being hormonally balanced and your thyroid optimized has to do with your weight. Because if you are not, what you're doing by completely ignoring those and not just being on hormone replacement therapy, you need to be optimized. There is a difference. There is a vast difference than being on something and being optimized while you're on something. And
Right.
if you are not optimized, you will not we'll use weight loss in this example because we're talking about GLPs. If you are not optimized, especially in thyroid and especially in hormones, that is your body putting on the brakes valve. Hand full stop. Your body's got the brakes on, and then you stomp on the gas with the GLP. You're causing more harm than good in a number of different ways. So please, if you're considering GLPs, get optimized. And just because you're on HRT or thyroid, this is what I do all day, every day. People say they're on whatever they're on, and they're not optimized because they can't lose weight and they want to try a GLP. So I encourage you to find somebody who can connect the dots, read your labs, knows what they're looking at, and then see where you stand, because there's a really good chance, I would say 85% chance and above, that you would not need a GLP if you do things the right way and start with being hormonally and getting your thyroid optimized.
Yeah,
That's my
it's a
closing
system.
statement.
It's a system, right? It's a
Yeah.
system. Go through the system again, go through the prep work before you get
Prep
thing
work.
shoved up your butthole for a colonoscopy, you drink all that water to crap everything out and cleanse your
Yeah.
colon. Go through the prep work. Don't just walk into an office. Oh, this is what you need to be on and be on and be on it. And that's what's being sold. That's the
Oh, it
problem.
is. Yeah.
It's social media. That is the problem, but we can't fix social media. We can only
And
do as much as we can and try to enlighten women and people who want to go on these GLP-1s. Preserve your health, people. Health first.
100%.
All right. Well, thanks for watching, and we will catch you guys next time. This is Fit with Purpose with Valerie and Cameron.